Welcome to Neuropraxis, Family and Friends of TBI Survivors Support Group, Week 6 module. We kindly ask that you complete this survey by scanning the QR code or accessing the link in the description box below. It will only take about 1 minute and will gather your baseline knowledge before continuing on to the educational portion. After viewing this module, you will have a general understanding of how to create goals utilizing the SMART goal technique, how to utilize effective problem-solving strategies, a general understanding of the benefits of utilizing a growth mindset, and how to apply all of these techniques into your daily life. To start us off, we will watch a short intro to what SMART goals are and how they can help you in your caregiving experience. At this time, you can follow along to the recording or click the link to watch on your own browser.
As caregivers, the tasks and the to-do list can be endless, but the rewards are also abundant. It's super important for us to remember our why we started. That's what keeps us going when things are just horrible and we don't feel like continuing on. One trick in order for our goals to stick is making what we call SMART goals or SMARTer goals. SMART goals are specific, measurable, obtainable, relevant, timed, and the is making sure we evaluate and review them as needed. The next step is making an action plan. I'm sure you've heard the expression before that a goal without a plan is just a wish, because it's way less likely for people to actually get things done if they don't have a plan. Often things just seem like too much, but when you break them down into smaller tasks, it becomes more doable. Ultimately, our goal is to take what feels like an overwhelming long to-do list and break them into manageable small tasks that we feel we can successfully accomplish. Another important factor is to remember to focus on our actions and not our outcomes. We can't always control the results of what we do, but we can control the effort we put into it.
Remember that a goal is a practice of being intentional with your time, which plays a significant role in self-management and motivation to achieve progress for you or your loved one. Also, goal setting is a part of creating an action plan to achieve a personal or shared goal during the brain injury recovery process. A 2015 study highlighted the impact of personal goals on well-being. They found that when highly valued goals were only set for the distant future without establishing short-term goals to achieve that end result, individuals reported a significant decrease in their well-being and success. Thus, in this module, we will focus on breaking down long-term goals into short-term goals, as short-term goals can be less daunting and more concrete than just setting a long-term goal without an action plan. Now we will go in depth in how to create SMART goals. The S stands for specific. Aim to create goals that are clear, to the point, simple, and sensible to you and your loved one. The M stands for measurable. Create goals that are meaningful, important, motivating, and there is the ability to track progress. A stands for achievable by ensuring you both agree on the established goal, you are aware and have access to required tools or components to achieve. Ensure the goals are relevant, so it is important for you or your loved one. Reasonable by keeping current strengths in mind, realistic on current circumstances, the necessary resources are available, and most importantly, there is a clear end result. SMART goals are time-bound, which means they are time-sensitive, but they do have the ability to be adaptable, but with a clear deadline to assess progress or if success was made. Lastly, you can identify missing components or find a middle ground by answering these questions with your loved one. What will be accomplished? How will it be accomplished? How realistic is this goal? Does this match current efforts or needs? When will this goal take place? In scenario 1, if you have a long-term goal of your mom completing one monthly grocery shopping trip by herself, then you can establish a short-term goal of mom will help in our bi-monthly grocery shopping trips by accurately finding 6 out of 10 items on her shopping list by herself. It's specific on what she will do, how she would do it, and when she will do it, measurable with the number of items she needs to find, achievable with mom's strengths in mind, realistic for her current progress, and timely, as you can assess if the goal was accomplished or needs to be modified after she completes the 2 shopping trips with you at the end of this month. In scenario 2, if you currently have no time for socializing with friends, but you have a long-term goal of getting back at least 2 hours of social time a week, then you can break down that long-term goal into a short-term goal. At the end of this week, I will call one of my close friends for at least 20 minutes to maintain fun and social interaction in my life. Again, it is specific on what you will do and how you will do it, measurable because you have the amount of minutes you intend to do it. It's achievable because you can establish a length of time where you don't feel like it's too much for you at this moment. It's realistic for your availability and timely because you set the intention to be completed by this week. At this time, you can pause this video and establish one or more personal short-term SMART goals for next week or one short-term SMART goal for your loved one in the coming week. Once you have established this goal, ask yourself the following questions. What will be accomplished? How will it be accomplished? How realistic is this goal? Does this match current efforts or needs? And when will this goal take place? When establishing goals, you should also consider several factors. Setting a time frame too short can be discouraging. Plan extra time to prepare for potential delays or setbacks. Remember to break down long-term goals into manageable chunks and ensure goals are based on progress post-injury. Avoid setting too many goals at one time that may be unrealistic for your current availability. Also, set goals that have a strong meaning or that address different aspects of life, such as career, family, health, social connection, and spiritual needs. Be patient with yourself when establishing new goals. With any new strategy, trial and error is a part of the process. Take note of mistakes and learn from them, or adapt as needed to reach your goals. Check in with the care team, involve family members and your loved one to ensure the goals are realistic, or seek their advice when setting goals with your loved one. Give credit for small successes, as genuine encouragement can go a long way for yourself and for your loved one. Keep safety as a priority when establishing new goals by consulting with your loved one's doctor or care team in advance. Having open and honest discussion with your loved one's team and your loved one can help reduce fears of failure and maintain progress. Take the time to reflect on progress consistently. When reviewing progress, you can update your goals to reflect changes in priorities and set aside extra time for specific activities. Lastly, avoid negative goals and rephrase them to make them more positive. Instead of saying, I will stop staying late at work this week, rephrase it to, I will spend more time with family this week. In this section, we will go over problem-solving methods that can be utilized in a variety of caregiving challenges. There are 6 steps in this method we will teach you, and the steps provided in this section are adapted from the Brain Injury Family Intervention Manual created by Kreutzer and Taylor. The problem-solving materials are presented according to the instructions in the BIFI manual. There's usually more than one problem to solve at a time, but it can be frustrating to work on all the problems or all the goals at the same time. Thus, the first step of problem solving includes prioritizing the importance of each opportunity for improvement. Adopting a positive mindset can also set up success for you and your loved one. But repeatedly telling yourself or your loved one, we have to, we got to, we must, or we should, can actually impair your efficiency in achieving your goals. This type of negative self-talk actually adds unnecessary stress. And a 2014 study found that the language we choose to talk to ourselves can affect our ability to regulate our thoughts, feelings, and behavior while under stress. So a more efficient method is assigning priority levels of the important tasks that need to be accomplished. An example would be to establish priorities from 1 to 10, 1 being the highest priority and 10 being the lowest. You can transfer these priorities onto a daily to-do checklist, so you can check off your accomplishments as you go. But start with the highest priority first, and if you're limited on time, move uncompleted tasks to the next day's to-do list. Since we have learned how to prioritize important tasks, we can move on to learning the steps of effective problem solving. This can be used for your own personal problem solving as a caregiver or as a tool you can use with your loved one. The first step entails identifying what you or your loved one are trying to fix. Prioritize each problem one at a time by identifying and ordering by importance from 1 to 10 that we have covered previously. Address the highest priority level first. In step 2, Brainstorm and list every possible solution that can help solve the problem or task at hand. In the third step, think of all the possible pros and cons of each solution and write them down. After, you will pick the solution that has the most pros and is more practical or realistic in your current situation within step 4. Then in step 5, you will create a timeline of where you will give this new solution a deadline to see if it works. Also, keep in mind what resources you will need to support this solution in solving your problem. Lastly, in step 6, once you have implemented your solution, you will assess if the solution actually solved your issue. If not, return to previous identified solutions and try them out. At this stage, you can reach out to the care team, family members, or counselors to help in the problem-solving process. In this section, I will provide 2 examples of using this problem-solving formula and provide a chance for you to try it yourself. As a hypothetical example, you and your loved one have identified finding enough money to pay rent is number 1 on the priority checklist. In step 2, you both have agreed that asking for family assistance is the fastest solution to this issue. In the third step, you and your loved one list down all the possible pros and cons for the solution, such as they have offered their assistance to you when needed recently, and that you trust that they will go through with their recent promise. However, a con to this solution is you both may feel slightly uncomfortable to ask for help at this time. In step 4, you and your loved one have identified the solution has the most pros and is the most practical or realistic in your current situation. In step 5, you and your loved one have decided to ask your family by calling your brother or parents by this Friday afternoon. Lastly, in step 6, this is after you have asked your family for assistance and they have given you their decision. They have said yes, and you both have established a plan when you will pay them back. In this second hypothetical example, the first solution didn't work, and finding rent money is still unaddressed and number 1 on your priority list. In step 2, you both review your potential solution list and agree that the best solution to utilize is getting a temporary second job for the time being. In the third step, you and your loved one list down all the possible pros and cons of this solution, such as the Indeed offers fast online applications, but there is time required to put together a resume and complete each application. In step 4, you and your loved one have identified the solution has the most pros and it's the most practical or realistic in your current situation, as there are a ton of job opportunities in your area and one of your friends has said they will put a good word at their job. In step 5, you apply to many jobs that fit your level of skill and you take an interview at your friend's job. Lastly, in step 6, you will see if the solution worked, if you were able to get the job. However, if the solution doesn't work, it will be best to seek help from a case manager or a counselor in finding emergency financial assistance and or helping revising your current budget. Now it's time for you to apply what you learned. At this time, you can pause this video and pick one specific area you are currently seeking a solution to. Refer to your priority checklist and try to pick something that is at high priority. Use the provided steps to identify potential solutions. Plan a specific time you will utilize your top solution in the near future. Then remember to create a future plan of how you will assess if the solution was effective. And remember to repeat steps 2 to 6 if another solution is needed once you apply it. Here are some tips to help support successful problem solving. No matter how much you accomplish on your to-do list, you will most likely want to keep going. However, it's important to trust your feelings when you feel like you're doing too much all at once. This is an indication you probably are, and should give yourself some grace to prevent burnout. Refer to your priority checklist to mitigate feelings of urgency that can add onto unnecessary stress. Utilizing a checklist can help transfer racing thoughts onto a visual where you can clearly note what needs to be done and the necessary steps to take. And also, it can help you keep organized during the many responsibilities as a caregiver. Have a backup plan for potential solutions by keeping potential barriers in mind, whether that be adding additional time to complete a goal or plan for potential setbacks. Remember to be patient with yourself and your loved one, as trying new methods comes with trial and error, and there is no one-size-fits-all. It's okay to adapt goals or solutions from what you originally planned. Ask your support system for advice during problem solving or goal setting. Also, it is important to find time to rest and refresh as a caregiver. Include self-care or time to cope with setbacks, whether that be 5 minutes or less. Open communication and communicating well with your loved one and those who provide care is vital in the problem-solving process. Sometimes flexibility will be required to ensure everyone's needs are being met. In this section, we will review what a growth mindset is and how to apply it in your life as a caregiver. A 2021 study highlights that caring for someone with a chronic disease, such as brain injury, is an adaptive challenge. Ongoing trial and error, ability to learn from mistakes, attention to social context, a willingness to be vulnerable, and a growth mindset are required to address these adaptive challenges. Brain injury survivors, caregivers, and the healthcare team are all adaptive leaders within brain injury recovery. It all starts with openly acknowledging challenges and embracing vulnerability, the ambiguity of the situation, and being willing to try new things. This mindset is a vital component of problem solving and goal setting as a caregiver. Using a growth mindset can help you make the necessary corrections and find ways to enhance both your and your loved one's quality of life. Although having a growth mindset won't guarantee things will be simple, it can help you be more adaptive and able to change in accordance with your loved ones or your needs across the brain injury recovery process. Although Carol Dweck coined the phrase growth mindset, I believe this quote by Dr. Bertram states what growth mindset is beautifully. He states, when you're in a growth mindset, what that means is that you choose to see struggle and challenge as an opportunity for growth and for learning and development. If you need a little bit more convincing, a 2011 study captured the brain's neural changes when comparing individuals who held a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. The growth mindset individuals showed superior accuracy in finding solutions to their mistakes compared with individuals who held a fixed mindset, meaning utilizing a growth mindset can improve attention and adaptive responses in rebounding from mistakes or learning from barriers that you may face. This image captures two amplitudes emitted from our brains during error processing that relate to how we adjust our behaviors following a mistake. The right image demonstrates heightened error positivity amplitude, which reflects our conscious attention to mistakes and improved performance following trial and error. The following considerations were extracted from published articles on how to apply growth mindset in caregiving and daily life. The first tip entails being open to possibility of change and improvement. Remove limiting thoughts about yourself or your loved one when you face barriers. We all have the ability to improve and find solutions when faced with setbacks. Embrace the belief that challenges are opportunities for improvement. Learn from trial and error, but avoid completely giving up, as patience and persistence are key in finding what works in brain injury recovery. When you encounter failure, instead of thinking it as a dead end, reframe your thoughts to the power of yet. You or your loved one's goals are worth waiting for, and progress takes work. Plan adaptive conversations with your loved one and those involved in their care. By reviewing goals and priorities to prepare for the future, you can help ensure these goals are in alignment with your loved one and their care team by using compassion and empathy when communicating or asking about fears and concerns. However, be courageous but courteous in voicing your concerns, especially when you feel your or your loved one's needs are not being considered in care planning. Recognizing the care team's limitations is essential for creating a respectful relationship, preventing burnout, and advocating for your loved one's needs, such as a lack of time or resources, high patient demand, lack of evidence based in their treatments, or suitability of their treatments provided. Also, being an active listener can ensure the success of problem solving and goal setting with your loved one by observing their body language and facial expressions. Lastly, a balance must be struck between trying a new method and establishing enough time to achieve progress before adapting to a new strategy too quickly. At this time, you can follow along to the recording or click the link to watch on your own browser. Here, we will watch a short clip with Angela Duckworth, who is known for her research on grit, which is a component of growth mindset. This clip illustrates how growth mindset and grit can impact our daily successes.
A growth mindset is a belief that people really are growth-oriented, that they're malleable, that they learn with experience and with effort. This is a topic of scientific study that dates back 50 years. It is the idea that we can approach a situation, a good or a bad situation, and think, what can I do here to change things for the better, to keep things on course. That is an optimistic, growth-oriented mindset. The opposite is a fixed mindset, a deep-down belief that really people don't change. You're either a writer or you're not a writer. You're a natural public speaker or you're not meant to be in front of the cameras. You're kind of a people person with terrific social skills that nobody had to teach you, or you're destined to be awkward forever. These two orientations in life powerfully influence how people act, in particular when they're faced with challenges. It's in those moments of challenge that some of us rise to the occasion and others shrink back. And what explains these very different reactions, these very different motivation levels, are our beliefs. When you teach children that the brain is plastic, that neuroscience affirms that the growth mindset is the correct one, that neurons continue to grow throughout the entire lifespan, this actually inclines students to have more of a growth mindset than a fixed one. And that in turn leads to longer-term achievement.
We have reached the end of this module and we'll go over some key takeaways. Give yourself and your loved one grace while working on new goals and implementing problem-solving solutions. Some methods may need to be adapted more than once, or some strategies may not work for everyone. The key is to persist even in the face of setbacks. Remember to utilize the SMART goal method in creating goals, as goal setting is a part of creating an action plan to achieve a personal or shared goal during brain injury recovery. Prioritizing needs with a to-do list can help remove unnecessary stress, improve efficiency, and organize thoughts to help the problem-solving process. Remember that you, as the caregiver, and those who provide care to your loved one are all adaptive leaders within brain injury recovery. Although having a growth mindset won't guarantee things will be simple, it can help you be more adaptive and able to change in accordance with your and your loved one's needs across the brain injury recovery process. At this time, we kindly ask that you complete our second survey for this module. You can scan the QR code or access the link in the description box below. It should take only about 1 minute to complete. Now we will go over some resources. The Best Suit app is designed to assist individuals with brain injury, concussion, stroke, and other cognitive challenges. It was developed by a professional with 30 years of experience in the field of cognitive rehab and brain injury recovery. As a reminder, Neuropraxis hosts several blogs on brain injury recovery. They provide caregiver resources and will provide an online brain injury resource guide that can help you or your loved one no matter the stage of recovery. You can also access these educational modules by subscribing to the Neuropraxis YouTube channel. And in March of 2023, Neuropraxis will release brain injury educational videos on their YouTube channel. Here are some safety resources we have provided for you or your loved one. This 24-hour warm line is available if your friends or family are unavailable while you need to vent or need someone to hear you out. This is a live person who is trained in giving you support, and they even connect you to resources if you need it. We would like to thank all the brain injury researchers, websites, and organizations who have provided the information included in this module. This module was created by Vanessa Rivera, an occupational therapy doctorate student at West Coast University Center for Graduate Studies and doctor intern at Neuropraxis Rehab, under the supervision of Christine Weaver, the CEO and founder of Neuropraxis, an occupational therapist with over 29 years of experience within the brain injury rehab setting. This module's material is for information and support and not a substitute for doctor or healthcare team advice for you or your loved one.